So what the question is what are we going to use to organise the notes on the fingerboard? Well, the obvious way, the usual way, is to use scales. Well, that's an A minor scale. Just uses all the natural notes from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. It's slightly different to the pentatonic. It's added a couple of notes to the pentatonic that we've been practicing and using. But out of that, the reason, well, I will probably show this in the session when we do it. That's the opening phrase, played out of a scale. It only uses pentatonic notes in the verse melody. It brings in a couple of the missing notes from the pentatonic, but you can still go in pentatonic thinking. And if you know the scale, and you can get the lines out of the scale. What I'm going to do is, if you look at the chord, the A minor we're playing, chords contain the main notes, not major, the notes that do most of the work in the scale anyway. In fact, the notes that aren't chord tones are generally kind of passing tones between chord tones to link the melody up. That's the way it kind of works. And you can see, actually, I mean, even though we're not going to be playing here, but you can see the A minor chord. That's an A minor bar chord, look. If I just put those 4 strings. And you can play a pentatonic. Can you see the fact that I'm using some of the A minor chords? So I've got a chord tone, then I've got a non-chord tone, then I've got another non-chord tone, chord tone, non-chord, chord tone, chord tone. And they kind of alternate as well, chord tone, non-chord tone. So you might say, well, if we're going to play the melody out of A minor, how do we find the other notes? Well, they're usually very close in proximity to your fingers. The painful bit of this process is getting familiarity with where the missing notes are, and that takes time. That'll take some time, but you can do it by audition, because if you've got a strong sense of, you can just audition. Once you've taken through it once and you've played it all once, which we'll be doing in session and I'm doing in these videos, then you come back to trying to play it. You remember, where's my next note? It's very close. Look, it's easy to reach. It's this note here. So you know, it's like you can audition the notes. There's only a limited number of notes you can audition around that chord shape before you find the note. You know, you might audition 2 or 3 notes max before you actually find the note that's missing. And all of that work is developing your ear. It's helping your ear find where the compatible notes are relative to the chord. You do a bit of scale work in between. They don't actually connect up that amazingly. All the scale practice that you do, it doesn't necessarily automatically connect up with this process that I'm trying to describe, but it doesn't do any harm. But the point is that the notes, you become habituated to where the notes, the missing scale notes are relative to the chord, without ever really doing much chord work, scale work. So that's the principle. We'll stop it there.